Hi there everyone, how you doing? It is Jeff C. It is Sunday, March the 23rd, and it is still freezing cold up here in Canada. Yes, we're still deeply in winter, even though it's supposed to be spring, but I digress. But I am here to talk about Canada. And don't let that turn you off if you're American, Australian, or British, or wherever you come from, because we're all connected. And especially if you're in one of these countries that is the Five Eyes, um, you're going to see the same song and dance, whether it is in the United States, Great Britain, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, anywhere the West has their bankster teeth dug into. They are dead set on removing the rights of people to protect themselves. They are trying to disarm us all. It is a major objective. Now, I have gone on in so much length about the gun control that is happening in the United States. It has accelerated there, and it is now hitting here. And what we're seeing now is that the Rcmp is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. This is the federal police force for Canada. Been around for a long time, and they are now just starting to ban weapons. It's not even assault rifles that they're banning. And we're going to take a look at this because this is extremely serious, because they are bypassing any sort of legislation. They are making their own legislation. And since when did the RCMP have the power to write the law? They're supposed to serve the law. They're supposed to protect those with the law. Not make up the law, not go after people who have purchased guns legally, who have spent good money, and all of a sudden make them criminals overnight. Now, we're seeing this explode in the United States in places like Connecticut, right, where they're just outright banning certain weapons and then forcing people to turn them in. There's a titanic struggle going on. It's all connected. So today, Canadians, wake up from your coma, watch what's going on. I'm going to show you a little clip here. Let's listen in here for a second.
Kenny's mom. You been talking about the Queen again? On Independence Day?
One of the greatest movies ever made, Clint Eastwood film Unforgiven. That's when that film's what taught me that the guy who wants to take your guns away, well, the reason he's doing it is probably because he plans to do something bad to you. Last week, the RCMP independently switched the classic green family of Swiss arms rifles from restricted or non-restricted to prohibited weapons. This is a firearm that was legal to possess up until that decision. It's estimated there are about 1,800 in Canada. Now, this latest move has firearms owners concerned about the RCMP's discretionary power to suddenly turn law-abiding gun owners into owners of prohibited weapons.
Yes, I have to give credit here to Sun News. They're doing a really good job covering this story. One of the only Canadian news sources that is actually covering this thing, and they've got some really good videos on this. Now, I also want to give credit here to Max Malone and up north of the 49th, fellow Canadian. Hey there, how you doing? Thank you for working on this and putting it up on their website. Of course, I'm going to leave links for all this below. I want to read a bit about what up north of the 49th here has put together, and then show you a bit more video about what's going on. Even if you think it's a good thing that a line of scary-looking Swiss rifles are now banned in Canada, it really should scare you that they were arbitrarily declared illegal by police, not Parliament. It's a dark day when police, not the people's elected representatives, can suddenly transform thousands of ordinary law-abiding citizens into criminals with the stroke of a bureaucratic pen. Last week, Mounties declared a list of Swiss-made military-looking rifles to be prohibited. The banned models had been sold legally in Canada since 2000, and as many as 13,000 Canadians own one or more. Like many Swiss commodities, such as watches and chocolates, these well-made firearms are high-end items costing $3,000 to $4,000 more. And initially the word was that as of 10 p.m. Eastern Time last Thursday, these guns were to be surrendered to the government without compensation. Fire shop owners who had them in their inventory likely were expected to turn over their stock to the government, which would not pay for the property it was confiscating. How fucking evil is that? The federal government announced Monday a 5-year amnesty for owners of Swiss rifles, saying that they won't face the threat of criminal charges. So they because of pressure, they had to come back and give an amnesty, right? But this is something that is bigger than just these Swiss things. In fact, they're starting to ban other guns. Now, I want you to listen in here, too, to this reporter who's done a hell of a good job exposing this.
Will and Rcmp, forgive me, lab rats, and it's their own will and their own changing of minds and hearts, despite some of these things being decisions held for over 12 years in this country. So my Friday night was very eventful.
Sure it was. I should have been watching your social
on the phone
media.
with firearms lawyers from across the country. But all right, so in this country we've got 3 different classifications for firearms, okay? And the one that we saw banned effectively on Friday was a CZ 858. It's a Czech-made gun, okay? It's been coming into this country for a long time.
It's essentially a rifle.
It's
a type of rifle.
And there's non-restricted, and this is the category that these were under, which means basically when you have your usual PAL, your acquisition license, you can shoot this firearm, you can own this firearm, and there is no registry for it. On Friday night, this bypassed even the registered or the restricted class and went straight to prohibited, which means nearly 10,000, we don't know an actual amount, nearly 10,000 Canadians overnight, with a stroke of a pen, became criminals. We're talking firearms that go for just shy of $1,000 a piece. And this comes, of course, on the heels of the decision earlier that week to turn the Swiss Arms lot of rifles, of which
is
there
a
are
much
several,
more expensive gun, as I
we're
understand.
talking 3 to 4K each there, without incident in this country. The 2,000 firearm owners there also turned into paperwork criminals overnight. Alex, I've been following this story. I've been having my ears to the ground since June, and finally Rcmp is acting, and they're acting quickly. We heard from Public Safety Minister Blaney saying that he's basically shocked, appalled, but we're still waiting for action, and that means these people aren't even being guaranteed compensation. Alex, could you imagine tomorrow a $3,000 to $4,000 item that you own? The government says you can't have that anymore. We're not going to pay you back.
So how does this work? Do they have a grace period? Do they have to go in and turn their guns in? How does it work?
Very good question. If they don't turn their guns in, they're looking up to 3 years behind bars. But we don't have a registry. This is not a call to get the registry back in, but we don't have an itemized list. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to retailers, get receipts. Like, this is totally draconian. And the question of what comes next is a very good one. We're all waiting. Firearms community, us here in the media, are waiting to hear from the government. And hell, even
I don't think a lot of
RCMP
people in the media care. I think certain media will care and represent legal gun owners.
Well, I'll tell you, the politicians should care. This is meat and potato issues for conservatives. We already had the High River gun grab happen, earlier last year. What is the Harper government doing for gun owners?
Look, I don't know anything about guns. So I think I come at it from a completely different position.
You don't
I'm a
need
little
to.
bit, I come from the outsiders. But you look at the situation in High River, it just seems like the Rcmp is all of a sudden on this mission to start essentially breaking the laws, to rewrite the laws how they want them. That's how I look at it, because these are legal gun owners, and the cops are going around the laws to rewrite them. What's Harper going to do?
Well, he should take his job back. It is his job as a politician to legislate. It is the Rcmp's job to enforce those laws, not to willy-nilly use their lab reports, which are then treated as de facto law, out on the streets and basically usurp power in some bureaucratic fiat move.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, is it not? I mean, these are the things that people really have to watch, because this is the bigger picture, really. And as I said, I got to give credit to Sun News, Max Malone, and up north of the 49th for putting this together. And Sun News, I mean, where are the other? Why isn't CBC? Why is nobody else covering this? This is absolute madness. Since when does the Rcmp have the right to create their own legislation and to automatically make people prisoners, or not prisoners, but criminals? Right? With a stroke of a pen, all of a sudden, well, you bought that thing legally? Well, sorry, you got to turn it. We're not going to give you anything for it. is fucking crazy, right? This is what's happening. This is the New World Order in March, happening right here in Canada, happening in the United States. We see it. It's accelerating right across the board. And it's very, very serious. I hope to God Canadians fucking wake up. Really. I mean, they need to wake up and stand up and not allow this kind of shit to happen. There's no way that they should be banning these weapons, especially since people are paying real good money to have them. Everyone should have the right to defend themselves. Everyone who is wise enough and has the wherewithal should arm themselves, because if we give up our rights, we're already giving up our rights left, right, and center, right? And they're stealing them away every day. But if they steal away our right to protect ourselves, well, it's game over, right? The last bastion that is left to this New World Order is the armed North Americans, right? That is it. They want to change that. They want to make us like Australia. They want to make us like Great Britain. This is scary stuff. And I'm just hoping that enough Canadians are going to click on this and go see Max Malone's page as well. I'll leave all the links below. Have a good one.